Today we're going to talk about the complementary angle theorem. So as you can see up here on the board, I already have a right triangle. And the first thing I'm going to do is figure out what sine of theta is and what cosine of theta is. So what's sine of theta? That would be opposite over hypotenuse, so that's b over c. And what is cosine of theta? That would be adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's a over c. Alright, so now let's switch the angle. Let's talk about the angle up here, which I'm calling alpha. What's sine of alpha? That would be a over c. And what's cosine of alpha? That would be adjacent, b over hypotenuse, c. Can you see that there's a relationship between these trig functions? Can you see that sine of theta is the same as cosine of alpha? They're both b over c. And cosine of alpha, cosine of theta is the same as sine of alpha. They're both a over c. This is due to the complementary angle theorem, which we're about to talk about in a moment. But before we do that, does anyone know, can you tell me what theta plus alpha is equal to? Well, since this is a right triangle, then the other two angles must add up to 90 degrees. These two angles are complementary angles. Didn't spell it right. Complementary angles. They are complements of each other. Two angles that add up to 90 degrees are complementary. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that terminology. Okay, the complementary angle theorem states that cofunctions of complementary angles are equal. Well, we haven't discussed what cofunctions are. Sine and cosine are cofunctions. Tangent and cotangent are cofunctions. And secant and cosecant are cofunctions. Cofunctions are easy to remember because of the co in front of each of the names, sine and cosine, tangent and cotangent, and secant and cosecant are all cofunctions. So let's do another triangle again, but let's put some values in here. I'm going to make this 60 degrees. I'll make this angle 30, right? Again, I'm going to label these A, B, and C. So what is sine of 60 and what is cosine of 30? So sine of 60 would be opposite over hypotenuse, b over c. And cosine of 30 would be adjacent over hypotenuse, which is b over c. So we have cofunctions, sine and cosine, of complementary angles, 60 plus 30 equals 90, are equal to each other. Sine of 60 is equal to cosine of 30. Cofunctions of complementary angles are equal. So if I asked you, tangent of 1 degree is the same as cotangent of, well, since cotangent is the cofunction of tangent, then it must be the complementary angle. So 90 minus 1 is 89 degrees. Let's try a few more of those. Cosecant of 10 degrees is the same as, what's its cofunction? Secant. And what is the complementary angle to 10 degrees? 90 minus 10 is 80. Sine of 2 degrees is the same as saying cosine, because that's its cofunction. What's the complement of 2 degrees? 90 minus 2 is 88. And cotangent is the same as its cofunction, tangent, with the complementary angle to 70 degrees. 70 plus what makes 90? 20. Cofunctions of complementary angles are equal.